Imagine buying your dream car, driving it off the lot with that new car smell, feeling on top of the world, and then just 3 years later, watching $30,000 of your hard-earned money vanish into thin air. Not because of an accident, not because of mechanical issues, but simply because you chose the wrong model. This is happening right now to thousands of Australians, and the cars causing these devastating losses might shock you. Some of them are sitting in driveways across the country, considered reliable, popular choices. But here's the brutal truth. They're financial disasters on wheels. Stay with me, because if you own one of these vehicles, or you're thinking about buying one, what I'm about to reveal could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Before we dive into this financial nightmare, do me a quick favor. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and avoid costly mistakes when it comes to cars, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the Drive Intel. We break down the real numbers, the hidden truths that dealerships don't want you to know. Trust me, you'll want to be part of this community. Now, let's get into the cars that are draining Australian bank accounts faster than almost anything else on the market. Depreciation is the silent killer of car ownership. It's not flashy, it doesn't make headlines, but it quietly eats away at your investment every single day. And while every car loses value the moment it leaves the dealership, some vehicles hemorrhage money at an alarming rate. We're talking about losses that can exceed half the purchase price in just a few short years. The Australian automotive market has some unique characteristics that make certain vehicles particularly vulnerable to this value collapse. And understanding why this happens is crucial if you want to protect your wallet. Let's start with one of the most surprising entries on this list, the Land Rover Discovery. Now, Land Rover has built a reputation for luxury, capability, and that prestigious British heritage. The Discovery is marketed as the ultimate family SUV, combining off-road prowess with 7-seat comfort and cutting-edge technology. Australians have embraced it enthusiastically, especially families who want something that feels premium but practical. However, the financial reality of Discovery ownership tells a completely different story. A new Land Rover Discovery can easily cost you anywhere from $90,000 to well over $120,000, depending on the variant and options. Fast forward just 3 years, and that same vehicle is worth around $60,000 to $70,000 in the used market. That's a loss of $30,000 to $50,000 in just 36 months. The reasons behind this dramatic depreciation are multifaceted. Land Rover's reputation for reliability issues plays a major role. Potential buyers in the used market are wary of expensive repairs and electronic gremlins that plague these vehicles as they age. Additionally, the sheer cost of maintaining a Land Rover out of warranty scares away budget-conscious buyers, further depressing resale values. The combination of high initial cost, questionable reliability, and expensive maintenance creates a perfect storm for depreciation. Moving on to another shocker, the Mercedes-Benz GLE. Mercedes has long been synonymous with luxury and engineering excellence, and the GLE represents their mid-size luxury SUV offering. It's loaded with technology, offers a supple ride, and carries that prestigious three-pointed star on the grille. For many Australians, owning a Mercedes is a status symbol, a sign that you've made it. But that status comes with a hefty price tag, and not just at purchase. A new Mercedes-Benz GLE will set you back anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 or more for higher spec models. After 3 years, you're looking at a vehicle worth around $70,000 to $90,000. Again, we're seeing losses in that $30,000 to $50,000 range. The luxury SUV segment is incredibly competitive, with new models constantly arriving with better technology and features. This rapid advancement makes older models feel dated quickly. Furthermore, Mercedes vehicles are known for expensive servicing and parts, which makes used buyers hesitant unless the price is significantly reduced. The prestige factor that commands a premium when new evaporates quickly in the used market, where buyers are more focused on value and running costs. Now let's talk about a vehicle that might hit closer to home for many Australians, the Volkswagen Tiguan. Unlike the previous two luxury models, the Tiguan sits firmly in the mainstream SUV segment. It's been a popular choice for families, offering German engineering, a comfortable interior, and a practical size. Volkswagen has marketed it heavily in Australia, and you'll see them everywhere on our roads. But popularity doesn't protect you from depreciation. A new Volkswagen Tiguan typically costs between $45,000 and $65,000 depending on the variant. After 3 years, that same Tiguan is worth around $25,000 to $35,000. While the absolute dollar loss might be slightly less than the luxury models, we're still talking about $20,000 to $30,000 disappearing, which represents a depreciation rate of around 40% to 50%. The reasons here are particularly interesting. The Australian market has seen an explosion of SUV options in recent years, especially from Korean and Japanese manufacturers, offering excellent value, superior warranties, and comparable features at lower prices. This intense competition puts pressure on European brands like Volkswagen. Additionally, Volkswagen's diesel emissions scandal damaged the brand's reputation for honesty and environmental responsibility, even though it primarily affected diesel models. This reputational damage has had a ripple effect across their entire lineup, making buyers more cautious and depressing resale values. Here at the Drive Intel, we're committed to giving you the unfiltered truth about car ownership costs, so make sure you're subscribed, because we've got more eye-opening content coming your way. Let's continue with another German contender, the BMW X3. BMW represents the ultimate driving machine, or at least that's what their marketing tells us. The X3 is their compact luxury SUV, blending performance with practicality. It's a common sight in affluent Australian suburbs, driven by professionals who want a premium badge without stepping up to the larger, more expensive X5. A new BMW X3 will cost you somewhere between $65,000 and $90,000. 3 years later, you're looking at a value of around $40,000 to $55,000. That's another $25,000 to $35,000 hit. The pattern with German luxury brands becomes clear. They command premium prices when new, but that premium evaporates rapidly. BMW's strategy of constant updates and new technology means that a 3-year-old model can feel significantly outdated. The brand also has a reputation for expensive maintenance, particularly once the vehicle is out of warranty. Run-flat tires, specialized service requirements, and pricey parts all contribute to higher running costs that scare away used buyers unless the price is dramatically reduced. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Let's talk about the Holden Colorados and the related Holden Trailblazer. These are particularly painful examples because Holden no longer exists as a brand in Australia. When General Motors retired the Holden brand in early 2020, it sent shockwaves through the Australian automotive landscape. Many Australians had grown up with Holden. It was part of our national identity. The Colorado Ute and Trailblazer SUV were rebadged versions of vehicles sold globally under different names, but they carried that emotional Holden badge. When new, a Holden Colorado cost between $40,000 and $65,000, while the Trailblazer ranged from $50,000 to $65,000. Fast forward 3 years, and these vehicles are worth around $25,000 to $35,000. The loss is significant, $25,000 to $30,000 in many cases, but the real pain comes from the uncertainty. With Holden gone, owners worry about parts availability, dealer support, and whether their vehicle will become an orphan that nobody wants to service. This fear has crushed resale values beyond normal depreciation. Used buyers are understandably nervous about buying into a dead brand, even though parts and service are technically still available through former Holden dealers and parent company networks. The psychological impact of a brand extinction cannot be overstated when it comes to resale value. Another vehicle that's causing financial pain is the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep has a strong heritage, and the Grand Cherokee has been their flagship SUV for decades. It offers genuine off-road capability, a spacious interior, and that rugged American character. In Australia, it's been marketed as an alternative to the European luxury SUVs, offering similar features at a slightly lower entry price. A new Jeep Grand Cherokee costs between $60,000 and $95,000 depending on the variant. After 3 years, you're looking at values around $35,000 to $55,000. Again, we're seeing that $25,000 to $40,000 depreciation. Jeep's reliability reputation has been mixed at best, with various models suffering from electrical issues, transmission problems, and build quality concerns. This reputation precedes the brand in the used market. Additionally, Fiat Chrysler's dealer network in Australia, while adequate, isn't as extensive as Japanese or Korean brands, making some buyers nervous about service accessibility. The combination of reliability concerns and limited dealer presence depresses demand in the used market, which in turn hammers resale values. Let's shift gears and talk about why this is happening more broadly. Australia's automotive market has some unique characteristics that exacerbate depreciation for certain vehicles. First, we're a relatively small market geographically isolated from major manufacturing centers. This means parts and specialized service can be more expensive than in larger markets. Second, Australians have developed a strong preference for reliability and low running costs, particularly in the used market. Brands like Toyota and Mazda dominate used car sales because buyers trust them to be dependable and affordable to maintain. This creates a two-tier market where reliable, affordable brands hold their value while luxury and European brands depreciate rapidly. Third, Australia's harsh climate and vast distances mean vehicles are genuinely tested. Buyers know this and factor in the likelihood of wear and tear, which makes them cautious about vehicles with questionable reliability reputations. If you're watching this and starting to sweat because you own one of these vehicles, take a breath. Let me give you some strategies to minimize your losses. First, if you're still within the first year or two of ownership, consider selling sooner rather than later. The steepest depreciation often happens in years 2 through 4. If you can exit before hitting that cliff, You might save significant money. Second, maintain your vehicle meticulously and keep all service records. A well-documented service history can add thousands to your resale value, especially on European vehicles where buyers are nervous about reliability. Third, consider selling privately rather than trading in. Dealers need to make a profit on resale, so they'll offer you less than market value. Private sales take more effort, but can net you thousands more. Fourth, be realistic about pricing. Check current market values on websites. Look at what similar vehicles are actually selling for, not just what they're listed for. Overpricing will cause your vehicle to sit on the market, becoming stale and eventually selling for even less. Now, if you're in the market to buy, this information is gold for you. These high depreciation vehicles can represent incredible value if you're buying used. A 3-year-old Land Rover Discovery or Mercedes GLE with low kilometers and full service history might be half the price of new but still offer most of the luxury and capability. The key is to factor in potential maintenance costs and perhaps budget for an extended warranty. Buying a high depreciation vehicle used allows someone else to absorb that initial value crash while you enjoy the benefits at a fraction of the cost. Just make sure you go in with eyes wide open about potential running costs. Here's something else to consider. The rise of electric vehicles is about to supercharge depreciation on certain types of vehicles. As Australia's charging infrastructure improves and more affordable EVs enter the market, large petrol and diesel SUVs could see even more dramatic value drops. We're already seeing this trend internationally. If you own a thirsty V8 or large diesel SUV, the writing might be on the wall. The next few years could be brutal for resale values, as buyer preferences shift toward electrification and efficiency. Let me share some real stories that drive this home. I've spoken with Australian families who bought a new Land Rover Discovery for $110,000, only to find it worth $65,000 just 3 years later when they needed to upgrade for a growing family. That $45,000 loss was money they were counting on for the deposit on their next vehicle. Instead, they found themselves underwater, owing more on the finance than the car was worth. Another family bought a Volkswagen Tiguan thinking they were making a sensible choice with a reputable European brand. 3 years later, when job circumstances changed and they needed to downsize, they discovered their $48,000 investment was worth just $28,000. These aren't abstract numbers. They represent real financial pain for real families. The automotive industry isn't exactly rushing to publicize these depreciation rates. Dealerships focus on monthly payment plans that hide the true cost of ownership. Manufacturers emphasize features, performance, and prestige without mentioning that you'll lose a third to half of your investment in just a few years. This is why channels like The Drive Intel exist, to cut through the marketing and give you the real numbers that affect your financial well-being. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos that could save you thousands. So what are the alternatives? If you want to minimize depreciation, look at vehicles with strong resale value reputations. In the Australian market, Toyota consistently leads the pack. Models like the Land Cruiser, Prado, and Hilux hold their value remarkably well. Yes, they cost more upfront, but you'll recoup much of that when you sell. Mazda has also built a strong reputation for value retention, with models like the CX-5 and CX-9 holding strong in the used market. Honda and Subaru also perform well. These brands benefit from reputations for reliability, affordable servicing, and strong dealer networks across Australia. If you absolutely must have a luxury badge, Lexus is your best bet. As Toyota's luxury division, Lexus combines premium features with Toyota reliability, and their resale values reflect this winning combination. Let me be clear, I'm not saying you should never buy a Land Rover, Mercedes, BMW, or Volkswagen. These are genuinely excellent vehicles in many ways. They offer features, refinement, and driving experiences that mainstream brands sometimes can't match. But you need to go into the purchase with realistic expectations about depreciation. If you're leasing or planning to keep the vehicle long term, say 8 to 10 years, the depreciation curve flattens out and becomes less painful. It's the 3 to 5 year ownership cycle where these vehicles absolutely destroy your wealth. Another factor worth mentioning is the impact of manufacturer incentives and discounting. When you see heavy discounting on new vehicles, that's a red flag for future resale value. If a manufacturer needs to offer $10,000 in bonuses and discounts to move new stock, what does that tell you about demand? Low demand for new vehicles translates directly into low demand and low prices in the used market. Pay attention to which brands and models are constantly on sale. They're often the ones that will depreciate fastest. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to major financial decisions. The automotive industry counts on consumers not doing this homework, not understanding depreciation, not calculating true ownership costs. They want you focused on that monthly payment and that new car excitement. But now you know better. You've got the real numbers, the real story that could save you a fortune. This is exactly why the Drive Intel exists, to empower you with information that protects your financial interests. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on because we're constantly researching and revealing the truths that could save you thousands. Hit that like button if this video opened your eyes, drop a comment sharing your own experiences or questions, and share this with anyone who's car shopping. Together, we can make smarter automotive decisions and keep more money in our pockets where it belongs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue to uncover the real truths about car ownership.